friends. It's been a little while. Right off the bat, if you're wondering where the 4th episode review is, it's going up alongside this video, so you can check it out now if you haven't already. But yeah, sorry for the delay, guys. I'm actually getting married in 2 months, so things have been really crazy on my end. As always though, this video contains spoilers, and while normally I would say that because this is a non-linear review, you probably want to watch the episode first so you know what's going on, but in this instance, I'm not even sure watching it would clear anything up for you. Let's dive in. Okay, something good. Oh, I liked seeing the Lannister longbowmen. You know, you always see recurve bows getting all of the love in media, but longbows actually played a huge part in medieval history. It's actually really interesting. You should check it out. Okay, what else? Right, so it wasn't the strongest showing, but let's move on to the okay section. What do we got here? This is really hard. Okay, so this episode was, as the French say, que terrible, but there was stuff that was less bad than others, so this review is going to have the brand new category of least bad. And first up we have Tyrion's scene with the Unsullied. How did he not know that they spoke common when he spent the last few years with them? I don't know, but if you ignore the fact that it makes absolutely no sense, it's kind of funny. And D&D's attempts at humor usually make me full body cringe so hard that it causes permanent tissue damage, so small victories, I guess. Daenerys executing Varys is another one of those things that I think could work in a different context, but he only decided she was a lost cause like 2 episodes ago, so his change in allegiance had 0 time to set in, and their logic for Daenerys doesn't quite check out here. She blames Jon, but punishes Varys, even though he wasn't explicitly telling anyone that they need to rise up against Daenerys. He was just saying that Jon is a Targaryen, and there's a gray area as to whether that's even treason, because it's just the truth. Like, they would need this for record books and stuff, or even just to have a next of kin for Daenerys. And again, it might be different if Jon actually wanted the throne, but he doesn't, so it doesn't matter how many people Varys tells, because I'm gonna say it again, you can't make someone rule if they don't want to. In fact, it really bugged me that Jon had no opinion on any of this, because one of the few characterizations he has is that he's all about honesty. I also don't get why they had this very deliberate shot of Varys taking his rings off, or what this little girl was about. If he was trying to get her to poison Daenerys, it amounted to nothing, and if he wasn't, yeah, no, this was absolutely nothing. Anyways, we're into the really bad now. That was quick. Okay, so I talked in the previous video about how Daenerys goes from unsettled protagonist to crazy Targaryen in under 2 seconds, and yeah, it's bad. No matter how many times you want to point out that there were signs that this was going to happen, it still doesn't make this evolution anywhere close to smooth. Like, foreshadowing isn't some sort of catch-all for lazy character writing. And it's total crap that she was supposedly going more and more crazy this whole time anyways. She was 100% lucid about not attacking King's Landing just last season. I also don't get why the bells were some sort of trigger for her to go nuts. In the behind-the-scenes video, they say it's because she looks at the Red Keep and decides to make it personal, but she could see the Red Keep the whole time, what? And why would looking at the city her ancestors built make her want to torch everything? If anything, it would make her want to stop. Because at the end of the day, once Cersei's defeated, you're just trashing your city. Even if you didn't care about the civilians or their opinion of you, which is already horrendously out of character, have fun bankrupting the entire country in order to fund these repairs. Yeah, sorry guys, today's small council meeting will be taking place on this smoldering pile of ash. Don't forget to bring your own lawn chairs, because there's nowhere to sit. The worst thing is that we don't even get to see what's going on through her head while this is happening. Once she starts going off, we don't even get another shot of her. She's just functionally a blowtorch for the rest of the episode. They don't even try to have any sort of internal reasoning for this. You're just supposed to look at all the people dying and go, oh, the humanity. And I could make a critique about how all it would have taken was one surgical strike of the Red Keep to kill Cersei, and all of this would have been over. But I don't think there's much point, and I'll touch on why in a sec. Anyways, when it comes to the Golden Company, it's one of those things where I'm not even sure why they bothered to adapt it. Daenerys comes up behind them, Harry Strickland gets blown off Horsey Strickland, and then every single one of them gets absolutely blitzed. Like, these guys were built up for 2 whole seasons, and I'm pretty sure Ed Sheeran got more screen time. Also, if you're feeling let down by Clegane Bowl but can't quite figure out why, the reason it wasn't satisfying is because the writers always want to have their damn cake and eat it too when it comes to this character. Like, guys, either the Hound's a joke and you make this a silly, over-the-top WWE fight, or he's a tragic character whose trauma has pushed him to believe that this is really the only way he can get closure. But you can't have it both ways. You can't play this fight straight with this big, heartfelt score and ominous background, because that's not how you've written the Hound. And he's like, Arya, you have to leave. I need to character moment. You don't want to end up like me. End up like you? Since when have you been some sort of harrowing character on this show? You're a fucking internet meme. You all know the hashtag. And speaking of Arya, why was she even in this episode? She and the Hound could have just had this interaction at Winterfell. There's 20 minutes of episode that's just her running from falling buildings and being a catalyst for an inordinate amount of tragedy porn. But if you wanted a character to follow on the ground, why her? She has nothing to do with this storyline. Like, you might as well have put Tormund here for how much sense this makes. You want to know who was already there and who should have been the one crawling around in the rubble saving lives? Jon. The whole idea they push in this episode is that Jon would be a kinder ruler because he cares about people. So why not have a juxtaposition of Daenerys up in the air firing on civilians, and Jon on the ground risking absolute life and limb to save them? Like, this is such a no-brainer. We're also continuously told that Jon is someone who people respect and listen to, but clearly they don't, because not a single person, Northman or otherwise, obeyed his commands to stop. All Jon does this entire episode is stop a woman from being raped and then leave. He doesn't even try to flag Daenerys down. This character is in a constant state of reacting instead of acting, and it's so frustrating. He has zero agency in what is supposed to be, at this point, his story. Why should you care about him? Because the plot says so. Great. It's been 9 years, and aside from vague Stark virtues like being honorable, this character has no discerning personality traits. Like, how is that even possible? That is a Herculean feat of not giving a shit. Anyways, going back to Arya for a second, what the hell was that horse at the end? I was literally lying awake in bed after watching this episode, like, what does it mean? So here's what I've come up with. I've got a few theories. Hang on. First of all, Bran warging into a horse is pretty stupid, but it's not quite stupid enough. We need to go deeper. So here's what I'm thinking. Ned Stark wanted nothing more than to protect his children before he died, right? How does he do that? Boom. By warging into a horse. This makes perfect sense when you think about it. Everyone constantly saying that Ned couldn't play the game was just a distraction, because in reality, he was playing the biggest long con of all. He's been in King's Landing this whole time, just munching oats and waiting for one of his kids to need a horse. Option 2. The reason why they included the Golden Company was so that none other than Horsey Strickland could die and come back to life as the fabled Azor Ahorse, delivering Arya's soul into the equine afterlife where she can frolic in a field and enjoy a nice salt lick. Third, Arya's nickname in the books is a literal prophecy, and she needs to touch her face to a horse's in order to complete her story arc. It's all there, you guys, okay? Denial isn't gonna change the facts. Oh, okay, no, sorry, I'm being told by my producers that this was in fact a metaphor for death? Wait, the death of what? This terrible show? Yes, please. And while it might not feel like it, Jaime's character got just as screwed over as Daenerys did, if not more. Because even though they tease you with a redemption arc multiple times, he is ultimately back where he started in season 1, willing to go to the end of the earth for Cersei. In fact, no, he's actually regressed back even further. By his exact words, he never cared about the people of King's Landing. So, What? Did he just think that killing the Mad King would be a fun way to prank Ned? And if they wanted to make Jaime this definitive asshole, it would still be wrong, but at least it would be consistent. Instead, they make him straddle this awkward line for 8 seasons of will he or won't he do the right thing. If this was the ending they wanted for him, then why did he leave for Winterfell at all? It's not like he played some instrumental part in the battle. He was barely featured. This was seriously done just to dick the audience around. Also, do they realize how accidentally good they made Cersei look in this episode? She saw her people dying and rang the bells, you guys. She even rang them early on when she could have waited it out way longer if she wanted to. But she swallowed her pride like an absolute champ and was going to surrender. Like, congrats D&D, because you just made the big villain you've been building up for years the most nuanced hero of this entire season. Oops. Also, the Valonqar turned out to be bricks? Yeah, they share a tender moment, and then they just die. Or did they? You guys, this is a false flag operation if I've ever seen one. Cersei has been pining all season long over elephants. And where do elephants live? Ostensibly? Essos. This was her plan all along. We're going to get a Jaime Cersei spinoff where they raise a baby elephant alongside their own baby in Pentos. And both the elephant and the baby are called Aegon, obviously. It's going to be called A Lannister Always Pachyderms His Debts. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I know I ended the last video really smugly, saying things like, I was right all along about this show being bad, and yada yada yada. But honestly, this time around, I'm just angry on behalf of the people who did enjoy the last few seasons. It's one thing to be incompetent and lazy, but this writing wasn't just bad. It felt actively hateful. And it wasn't just contempt for the story and its characters. This was D&D looking you right in the eyes and saying, fuck you for caring. They screwed over book fans who initially got this series off the ground, and now they're screwing over everyone else because guess what? There's no next season that they need you to come back for. They're closing up shop because they already have your money. They tricked you into thinking you were watching a story when all it was to them was a product. So yeah, get angry, and more importantly, stay critical, because this is just gonna happen again to the next big show if we don't all stand up for the fact that quality in media isn't to be taken for granted. If you would like to see just pure, unmitigated, relentless dragonfire coming out of my mouth, please consider becoming a patron. It helps a lot. If you've been enjoying these reviews, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss new videos, and then ding that bell. Wait, no, don't ding the bell! Don't ding the bell! Remember, if you didn't like the ending to this video, make sure you sign my petition to change it. Also, as a quick side note, I want to make it very clear that Euron still blows. He just is escaping my wrath because honestly, he was the least of this episode's problems. Can we talk about how it apparently only takes 2 days to ride from the Neck to King's Landing? What kind of magical jet engine unicorn horses are the Northmen riding? That's like 1,300 kilometers. The absolute fastest you could make that trip without your horses dying of exhaustion would be about 3 weeks. Although I didn't see any horses there, so... Wait, why is Davos wearing like 8 belts in this scene? Davos is packing heat, you guys. Watch out.